Hello and welcome to Film Fetish, your home for fetishistic film fuckery. Today we're going to be talking about Enter the Void. We all watched it last night in a really fun way. And so, my name is Connor Boyd. I'm the host of the show. We're joined today by Aaron Dye.
Here.
Maxwell Rackley.
Hello.
And Jarrod White.
Toodle.
Thank you guys for coming.
Yep.
So today, Enter the Void. But first, I want to just make some introductions. We're just going to go around the horn. Everyone's going to introduce themselves. This is a new program. We're just going to be talking about film. I'll go left to right, clockwise. So yeah, Aaron, why don't you start it off?
Hi. I like making weird films because I'm a weird guy. And if artsy, I like it. Okay?
You do realize this isn't a satirical program. You're supposed to be yourself.
No,
he's not being satirical.
You're talking in the voice.
I am talking in the voice. Because, I beat off to art. It's okay. Here you go. Maxwell.
There you go.
Hello. My name's Maxwell. I like writing because I'm good at it. And I like making movies. So let's make some magic happen.
Let's make some magic happen.
Right on. My name's Jarrod White. I am an independent filmmaker, veering towards the artsy side.
Oh my god!
Oh my goodness! I'm also a film critic, and
Wow.
I'll
Damn.
be here.
Grab life by the balls.
Renaissance man.
I know.
Well, that's fantastic. Okay, so I figured we'd just talk about shit we watched recently, even if we didn't watch it together or anything. Besides Enter the Void, what have you guys watched recently, Aaron?
Yes. Me and Jared just watched The Aviator's Wife, which was pretty Frenchy.
Yeah, Éric Rohmer.
Yes.
Okay.
From, I believe I looked it up and it was 1981 actually.
Yeah, I looked it up too.
Yeah. So, do we want to talk about that at all?
Yeah.
Or...
No, don't talk about a film on a film podcast.
Okay.
No.
Well,
No, go ahead, yeah.
If anyone out there isn't familiar with Éric Rohmer, he's more French New Wave, but you could lump him in with Godard and Alain Resnais.
Right.
I remember finding an IMDb thread once about Alain Resnais where people argued for about 6 pages on how to pronounce René's last name.
Really?
They were very confused because there was an S in it, which is silent.
Interesting.
They do that with Gaspar Noé too, because you said
I don't even know how to
you said
fucking
no
know
way
that
or
guy's name
something.
still.
No.
Except Harmony
Just no.
Korine says no too, and I said
Yeah, I don't know if
Isn't
it's
it
no and no way. All I know is it's
I have
Gaspar. Gaspar.
No idea how to
No
pronounce his name.
idea.
Bada boom. All
Ain't
right.
that a kick in the head? But,
So Éric Rohmer, what's his deal?
most of his movies are very like observational type movies, focused on romance and. All right, focused on romance, observational type movies. You basically just have a few characters going around and being interested in different people, and they're very minimal on plot, heavy on dialogue and character.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Claire's Knee is one of them. Tale of Springtime, I believe.
So he's like a really talky director, you said?
Talkie director, yeah.
Okay.
Like there is literally a scene towards the end of Aviator's Wife that I think is like a half hour long of 2 people
yeah.
talking in a
Wow.
bedroom, and
Yeah.
fascinating stuff. But I can definitely see how certain people wouldn't be able to get into it. But I really dig him. I really like his movies.
I liked it a lot too. It was like I didn't realize it was 80s because it doesn't seem like an 80s movie at all.
Yeah, I think he kind of made movies the same way for a long time, and a lot of them are very similar. He's like an auteur in that sense, kind of. I would equate him to like Fassbender in that way. If you know not Michael Fassbender.
I do know Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, no, Rainer Werner Fassbender.
Ooh.
Sort of like that.
That's a lot of hard content.
That's a lot of syllables right
Rainer
there.
Werner
Werner Fassbender. Well, he's German, so
Well,
I mean,
there you go.
Fassbender was like
Germans.
died when he was about 37 years old. And he
You
made
can't say
40 films. One of them, Berlin Alexanderplatz. That's the longest narrative film ever made. It's 15 hours long.
Wow.
It's
Have you
15
seen
hours
it?
long. Yes, it's
You've
one of my
seen it?
favorite films.
Really? You've seen
Yes.
it all the way through?
Yes.
Oh,
In one
Jesus.
sitting or
No, not in one. I watched it over a period of.
Fanny and Alexander was like the longest. Wasn't that 8 hours?
No, Fanny and Alexander, the full cut is about 5 hours long. The theatrical
Jesus
cut is about
Christ.
3.5, I think. I might be overshooting it about that. I think it's about 3.
Some long ass shit right there.
But
that'd be really. How did you watch that ever?
I watched it last year. I watched it over a series of days. I think it took me like 2 days to get through it.
Wow.
I was basically vegging out. I had a thing of Oreos.
Wow.
And it doesn't feel like 15 hours though. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
That's literally when my
It
friend
doesn't
and
feel
I.
like 15 hours. It only feels like 8.
It felt like 8. It just flew by.
more than 8 hours.
It couldn't have been more than 12 hours.
My friend and I, when we did the Star Wars marathon, that was 14 hours. So you watched one film that was longer than 6 films that were all.
I also have done the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the extended edition.
Oh, yeah.
In one day. I think that's a bit over 12 hours.
Yeah. I love doing that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, wow. I can't believe one film. So, Eric Rohmer, good director?
Yes, good director. Very kind of niche market, I'd say.
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't going to like his movies, but if you can find yourself getting into like a talkie movie about just like casual romantics, like people talking about, like if Seinfeld wasn't funny,
Oh, wow.
and it was just, really casual and people talking in coffee shops without any like coincidence. It was just really like bare bones.
I don't know if it's like Seinfeld because The Aviator's Wife had like a sweet tone to it. I don't know. I thought it was like just like very like casual.
Yeah, I say
Really-
casual
really
is definitely
And
the word.
Seinfeld's like cynical. I don't think this was cynical at all.
I don't know how cynical Seinfeld is.
Really?
I mean, that last episode, which I love, but is pretty cynical. But
Did you. So, you have. I'm seeing over on your desk here in the dorm here. You have a big stack of DVDs in one thing. Is that like a Eclipse series? What is that?
this Eric Rohmer collection that I got, there is Criterion has an Eric Rohmer set out that is his 6 moral films. I believe that's what
Okay.
they call it. 6 films of morals or moral films.
Yeah,
Claire's
something like
Me
that.
is one of them. My Night at Maud's, which is another one of his most famous films, is another one of them. This is out by Arrow Films. This is on Region Zero. It's PAL format actually, and it's got 8 films, including all 6 of his comedies and Proverbs series, which is another series of films
Wow.
he did.
Jesus.
This has, I'll just run through them real quick. Aviator's Wife, A Good Marriage, Pauline at the Beach, Full Moon in Paris, The Green Ray, My Girlfriend's Boyfriend, Love in the Afternoon, and The Marquis of O.
There's a Mike Birbiglia special on that DVD. His special is literally called My Girlfriend's Boyfriend.
Really?
I was
It's
thinking
so
the same
weird.
thing.
Maybe
I
he
guess
took
he
it
took
from
that
here.
from Eric Rohmer.
Yeah, maybe.
That's really
But
weird.
this is an interesting set. I just looked it up on Amazon this morning. You can get it used for about like $35, $40. So it's 8 films. So
Wow, that's
if you
kind
want
of
to
a
see it,
bargain.
I'd say pick it up. It's pretty cool. I rented it, but it's pretty cool.
So, Aaron, have you seen any other films recently?
I saw Gravity. Which
Oh,
is
wow.
pretty
Okay.
sick.
I was going to bring Gravity
Like a
up in
whole
our
episode
Enter
on
the
that
Void discussion. I
Have
was
we-
going to
have we
bring
all
that
seen
up
Gravity?
later.
I have not.
Oh,
but
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I don't want to inhibit anything, so feel free to talk about whatever.
There's no twist in Gravity. So
Yeah,
No,
I figured.
the-
I mean, the
yeah.
trailer kind of.
That's
paints the
kind of
picture
one of the
pretty
things I like about it. There is no twist. It's like, yep, that's it. That's
well.
Gravity.
I know Neil
might be-
deGrasse Tyson didn't like it, but
No,
That's
actually,
true.
he did.
Oh, he
did like
did?
it.
Because
Yeah,
he put a bunch of
yeah.
tweets, and then the last one
He
he
just said
said
it
is,
wasn't
for those
accurate."
people thinking, for those people who have been asking me, yes, I highly enjoyed Gravity.
it's like. But he went on for like 3 hours straight.
He did. He
Well,
did.
the problem with it was that
Who the hell is this?
Oh my God, we have a new challenger approaching. We have on the show, this is Trenton Hoshiko. He is our producer and filmmaker, master of the free world himself. Trenton Hoshiko, what's your opinion?
Well, okay, so I was reading about this, and Neil deGrasse Tyson did actually enjoy the film a lot. He was just talking about some of the inaccuracies in it. Basically, spoiler alert, but when she travels between the space stations, that would be impossible in real life because one is orbiting like 100 kilometers above the other one. They're not in the same plane.
Well, I mean, the whole idea that you can
So-
see one space station from
Yeah.
the other is absurd already.
But that was
because
like
they don't
like
put space stations
that was like
close
his main
together.
problem with it though, is that
Also, that you can
They were
film
like-
people in space. You can't do that.
Yeah, you
that
can.
wasn't real.
I'm just fucking around. Yeah.
Well, also her hair doesn't float. Her hair stays
Yeah,
pretty-
I'm
yeah.
guessing
God,
she's in film
everything
makeup the whole
else is
time. as well.
floating. I'm like,
I read a
That's such a
BuzzFeed,
small-
and no, I don't read BuzzFeed, but apparently one of the biggest problems with that movie was that she did not have a adult diaper on. And that was
Oh, yeah,
this
I heard
person's
that.
biggest problem with the
Yeah.
movie is that she didn't have a diaper.
I don't know why they didn't have like a more Sigourney Weaver type character. I don't know why Sandra Bullock.
Oh, I liked her. I
screams
liked
after
her in
them.
They
a lot.
tried to make her look like Ellen Ripley, I think, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, with
I
the
had a
short
feeling
hair and
Yeah.
like
Alfonso
she was wearing like a
Cuarón.
tank top at one point. I was like, that's so alien.
Yeah.
That's so
She had no
alien.
bra on under it too, with really awkward, like
so, honestly,
awkwardly
yeah, I think so.
exposing clothing.
I liked her a lot in it, actually. I'm a Sandra Bullock fan now.
Cool.
My biggest problem with Gravity in terms of the science of it is there's one scene, critical scene, where George Clooney makes the decision. I'm not
Uh-huh.
going to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but you'll know immediately what I'm talking
Oh,
about, where he
yeah.
makes a decision.
Yeah.
And if he had just pulled,
Yeah.
he wouldn't have had to have made
Yeah.
that decision.
Now when I watch this,
that
thing,
was
I'm
the
gonna be
only
thinking
one I
for
thought
sure.
that was a legitimate plot problem
Yeah.
related to the science. The other ones, it's like you can pick apart the technicality of any movie that involves space travel or
Yeah.
science or pretty much anything and say, oh, well, that wasn't real, that was unrealistic. But that was the only one I thought was really like intricate to the plot that bothered
Yeah.
me a bit.
Well, you know,
But these
gotta
things
suspend
happen.
that disbelief there.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's whatever. Okay, so any other films?
I don't know. Have you seen films?
Yes.
All right, Maxwell Rackley.
films.
What
Films.
films?
We're talking
what
about
films have
films.
you been watching this week?
Recently, I saw 28 Days Later.
Oh,
But
Oh.
I had seen it before. I was watching it with a
interesting.
friend for the first time.
okay. How was this? The next
The
viewing?
second. Oh, what?
Was it your second viewing of it?
Yeah, the second time not as good as the first. as
So
I
it has
remember.
some.
Yeah,
degrading-
it's. What I don't understand is Danny Boyle, the director,
Yeah.
films it in a way where he obviously has the budget to take shots of like London without anybody in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that must have taken a lot of money, but it's shot like shit.
It
like,
is shot like
yeah.
shit.
and I know that's done on purpose, but still, it's
It's
just
like
a little.
it's a YouTube video.
Yeah.
It's so,
Yeah.
it's so
And it's
lookalike.
almost hard to watch.
It's the kind of movie where it looks like shit, but you can tell they weren't really shooting it on
Exactly.
shit. Because I like
Right.
a movie that's shot on shit.
Yeah.
I'll watch old horror movies that are shot
Exactly.
on camcorders, and I love those.
Yeah.
But it was like,
But it's
you,
like
you obviously have an expensive
Yeah.
camera, and you're degrading the
You're-
footage to make it look
right.
crappy. And I
Because
don't
your
get
budget's
that.
like millions and millions of
Exactly,
dollars. It's not like
exactly.
yeah.
it's a low budget film.
I haven't seen 28 Days Later in a while, but I wouldn't watch it again because I really didn't like it.
Oh, you didn't like
Danny
it?
I
Boyle,
didn't
I'm
like
like,
it either.
half and half. His newest movie, Trance, I despised. I thought
Really?
it was one of
I
the.
need to
Is
see
it
that
the
one.
cowboy one?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. I thought it was
yeah.
awful, awful. I hated it.
I have a poster of that in my room, even though I've never seen it. 'Cause my friend works at a theater, and he also has an Oblivion poster, and he's never seen Oblivion. So we just have these posters that we've never seen.
But
Oblivion was
28
good.
Days Later, there's one good sequence at the beginning, and it's when he's walking around in the
Oh,
abandoned London.
it's
And I
so
believe it's
amazing.
set to a Godspeed You Black Emperor
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
Which,
Nice.
great pick
Yeah.
there.
It's such an amazing scene because you just have this complete city of like metropolitan, and it's just completely empty.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but I
it's
lose
amazing.
it after that.
They,
It becomes so typical, and I would compare it to the George Romero Dead trilogy in terms of why those movies are good and why I don't think 28 Days Later is good.
Right.
Because he doesn't make the zombies or infected persons, if you're going to be technical, a metaphor for anything. They're just infected people.
Yeah. but-
Right. It
Whereas-
comes down to
but that-
the
whereas
the
again-
people are the metaphor.
Yeah.
The regular people are the
And
demise
I don't
of
think
it.
I honestly can't even remember what the regular people looked like, never mind, like if they
No,
had any defining characteristics.
I remember the one creepy scene in that film was when he goes out into the courtyard or whatever, and there's just like this completely infected dude on a chain,
Oh, yeah.
and he like
Yeah.
runs at him like a wild fucking
there's
dog.
there's clotheslines and
Right.
and-
Oh,
and
yeah, that was
there's
fucking
like
creepy.
shirts and
It
stuff
was like an
hanging,
It
so you
reference.
can't tell, and the camera's shot so it's his point of view
Yeah.
running at.
That must have
was
been like
Cillian Murphy.
That must have been like an It reference, like a Stephen King's It, because there's a scene, that scene where
That
you
scene at the
see-
beginning with the
you see
clotheslines
it.
and
yeah,
the-
yeah.
But no, yeah, it's the movie's
Danny
fucking
Boyle
creepy.
channels Stephen King's It.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I heard the Walking Dead. If you guys have ever seen that show, the pilot episode is literally the beginning of 28 Days Later. He walks
Really?
out of a hospital and he's like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, what's going on?" And
Yeah,
that's
he gets
the
into like
plot
a
starts.
car accident or something.
Yeah, and then he's in a coma for X amount of
He
years.
got shot.
he got shot. Okay.
Shot.
I,
So.
I also don't like the spoiler alert, the tacked on happy ending to 28 Days Later.
I actually
Okay,
don't
yeah.
remember it. That's how much I.
'Cause I
really don't give a
honestly-
shit about that movie.
That bugs the shit out of me. There should not
Yeah.
be like a tacked on happy
And
ending.
it's so like, how do they get out of that whole situation in the
I
end?
know,
There's
I
like
know.
zombies everywhere, and
It
they
wasn't
manage
a
to like
deserved happy ending.
No. You didn't feel like they deserved
No.
it. You felt like they.
Yeah.
Don't they just drive away or some shit like that?
Yeah,
Like
but
something
they're in
really-
the compound with all the military dudes,
Right.
And all this. There's like a few zombies running around infecting other people,
Right,
And then
right.
they manage to like drive away,
Yeah.
like get in a car and drive away.
That's the most depressing place to have a zombie apocalypse in fucking England. That would be so depressing.
This is great. All
We're
down in the tubes.
I'm down in the tubes and some zombies code
I
out.
want down, mind the gap and the zombies down
This is
there.
worse than when Sid Vicious was going around.
Yeah,
regular
Alex Cox
zombie
is gonna
here.
make a movie about zombies. In
Alex Cox
80s
is?
movie in 80s England. No, I'm just joking.
Oh, I'd love
How
that.
funny would that be?
I would love that. I'd love Alex Cox to make another movie, period.
Yeah.
So
28 days later,
kind of underwhelming.
kind of underwhelming. Okay.
Yeah,
Second
I'd say.
viewing, not
Yeah.
so good.
I think because my first viewing, I was young, and I've always just loved zombie movies.
Sure.
And so I just naturally was like, "Oh, it's a zombie movie. I love it."
He actually,
so.
I think he's like adamantly claimed that movie's not a zombie.
He
movie.
has,
He's been
he
like,
has.
"Oh,
I know,
an
yeah,
infection
it's a
movie," but
virus.
fucking bullshit.
It's
But
got a
it's
similar-
so it's so in the
What else
style
would you
of-
group it with?
It reminds me of those old like European zombie movies, Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, where
Okay,
it's
yeah.
basically people walking around and then like a zombie pops out of a window and then
Yeah.
they're like scared for 2 minutes and then like that's about it. The more zombie movies you see, the less you like zombie movies, honestly.
I have a feeling, yeah.
But George Romero's trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
Because
So
they find some because zombies in and of
Yeah.
themselves aren't interesting. That's
Yeah.
the whole thing
Yeah.
about zombies. They're
Yeah.
like
Never-
walking flesh. They have
It's
no
never been
personality.
a genre that I've gotten into. I've only seen 20 Days Later once, and then like I've seen I Am Legend. That's about it.
Oh boy! What an introduction
It's
to
like a
genre there.
vampire, zombie, fucking whatever the
Yeah.
hell.
Fun
Really,
fact
I haven't
about I
seen
Am
any
Legend though,
Romero's
the
movies.
creatures are voiced by Mike Patton, Faith No More, Mr. Bungle frontman.
Really?
Weird.
Yeah, I think he also does the voices of the zombies in that game Left 4 Dead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a great fucking
Yeah.
That's a good game.
But this is a movie podcast, so we should talk
Alright.
about games.
Well, he also did the soundtrack for the place Beyond the Pines recently.
Jesus. Wikipedia. Right there. That's some...
Well, I'm a Mike Patton fan. I like
Oh,
him.
okay.
I like his work. So
So, Maxwell, any other movies you've seen recently besides End of the
Yeah. I don't want to. Have any of you guys seen Tropical Malady? Have you heard of
yes,
this?
Tropical Malady.
Malady?
If I can pronounce his name,
Oh yeah. I just looked up his name because
just
I was
call
like,
him.
I
You
don't.
can just call him Joe.
Okay.
He's not too fond of being called Joe, but that's what people call him because, goddamn, if you can pronounce that name,
what's-
Apichatpong, Weerasethakul.
So
He
Don't
is.
even fucking-
He's from.
I can pass around the
he's-
name and you can take a look
He's
at
from
it. It's-
Thailand.
Oh, God. Okay.
So
Thai names are probably pretty weird.
Yes, yes.
I think it's one of the most highly praised Thai films. I would say most
All of
known.
his films
Wow.
really are
Yeah.
spectacular.
And it was pretty interesting. I liked it. I don't know if I understood it all because it kind of got into Thai folklore.
It
which
does,
I,
it does.
Which I
That's
didn't
fucking
really
weird.
understand.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of get it. There's like a tiger, like a shaman guy that takes the spirit of a tiger,
Okay.
and you kind of get the whole roundabout, but you don't really understand the whole
Weird.
folklore.
Well, I'd say you
folklore,
get the
yeah.
emotion of the situation. You
definitely.
get the
And it's-
mystery and the.
It's beautifully shot in like the jungles
Oh,
of like Thailand or wherever it's shot.
I've never
And
heard.
it's-
What's the plot of this movie? But
You have a young boy, maybe in his early 20s, befriends a man who's in the army, and they kind of start having a relationship.
Okay.
Yes.
But nothing actually happens between them.
But it is
You can
definitely
tell,
implied
yeah.
as a
They
as
start-
a
Is
relationship.
that like a
Yeah.
comment on like the whole Thai like child trafficking scene type thing, or no?
I don't know.
I don't know.
No,
It's
no,
not.
no.
No, it's not like that.
There's not a
It's-
big
it's-
age difference between the
no,
two.
it's
Oh,
a
okay.
casual like
Oh, okay.
romantic type relationship
Right.
that goes
No,
on.
here's the name of the director.
All
If
right,
you want to
we're
take a
all
look
gonna
at
look
that.
at this crazy.
I
ass.
mean,
If you want to take a shot at
you
it.
lot of
can
weird
call him
accents.
Joe. You can call him Joe.
So yeah, I saw this film. It was pretty good. I would recommend it.
I can spell it. I've learned the spelling of it, but
God.
pronunciation is still beyond me.
Yeah, wow,
I'm
that just
sorry.
looks-
I'm sorry.
That looks like all kinds of crazy.
It looks like if you just punched a keyboard.
Yeah, it's
All right, so that's about it. I think I can pass it on at that point.
Okay. Jared, what films have you watched recently?
what films have I watched recently? What have I been watching?
I don't know. You just said you watched Éric Rohmer, so
I was been
check
watching
that
some
one
Eric
off.
Rohmer one, so check that one
Checkaroo.
off. Yeah, don't have
cool.
to talk about that anymore.
That one on the scoreboard.
I actually just about, I mean, this was a few weeks ago now, but I saw Day of the Woman, aka I Spit on Your Grave, the original,
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
for
okay.
the first
I wanted to see
time.
that.
Wow.
Because
That's a great
I'm a
movie.
huge fan of exploitation films.
Yeah.
Love exploitation
Especially with Halloween
films.
coming up. Got some.
But that was one of the big ones that I hadn't seen yet.
Cool.
And it's on Netflix Instant, so I checked it out. Interesting film. It was one of Roger Ebert's notorious most hated movies.
Really?
Gave it,
Well, then you have to watch
gave it, I
it.
belive, a 0-star review.
Oh, only next to Human Centipede, because I'm pretty sure he didn't
Actually,
give that
no,
review.
Human Centipede he gave no star rating.
So it's
He
just
said,
insult
I don't know
generated.
what to do with this movie. I
Yeah.
don't know where to start. But yeah, it does have like a 30-minute rape scene in it. And
Oh, wow. Oh, boy.
It's
Is it like all one shot, or is it like...
no. It actually, she gets away, and you'd think she's gotten away, and they catch up to her again.
Wow. That's...
Yeah.
That's gotta be kind
Weird.
of devastating.
It is. But and it's a rape revenge film. It's one of those.
A lot of those types of films in exploitation cinema.
Exactly. I'd say it's not a great film. It's a really interesting movie, especially if you look at it through this debate that's been going on since its release as to whether it's a feminist parable or a misogynistic nightmare.
It's probably
Like,
something-ist, because God knows it's
the
an exploitation film.
The director, I'm totally blanking on the director's name now. I believe it's the only film he's directed.
Wow.
But the origin for it, I believe, if I can paraphrase his story, is he did see a woman. Actually, never mind. I don't even know the story, but it
Wow.
came from a personal thing that he
What's
experienced, and he wanted to portray the what a woman would go through in that type of situation. So I think it was made with good intention. Meir Zarchi is his name.
Meir Zarchi.
Meir Zarchi.
And we have a Monsters University ad on the IMDb
On
page.
the page
On the
for
Spit on Your
I
Grave
Spit on Your
directory.
Grave. But
I see that. What's really weird is that movie's kind of transcended cult status, because
It has.
I've seen like that movie in the horror aisle at like Walmart or something like that.
yeah, well,
Like, on Blu-ray.
There has also been a remake of it a few years ago. There was a remake, which
Okay.
goddamn, if I'm gonna watch that, no. But
Spit on Your Grave remake. I don't know how that
Yeah.
quite got made, but I don't know. Maybe it's because it's a box.
it definitely, if you know exploitation films and you like cult films and you can get into those, it's a film with its heart in the right place.
Nice.
It's unsettling. It's hard to sit through. It's not perfect. It's rough around the edges, but it's an interesting movie if you're into that kind of film.
That's cool. Cool. So, any other films?
Cool. I have a background on.
Oh, we have background on
Yeah.
it.
We have background.
Trenton has background on this.
Okay, so I just looked this up, and he said that he was inspired to do the film after he helped a young woman who had been raped in New York. He was driving by the park with his friend when they saw a young woman crawling out of the bushes.
Wow.
When she was bloodied and naked, and she had been taking a common shortcut through the park when she was attacked, and I guess her boyfriend was attacked too. So, yep, that's the story
Boy.
behind it.
IMDb, everybody. IMDb.
Yeah. So, Trenton, would you want to talk about films you've watched recently?
So, I actually don't have a lot of time to watch movies often, but I went on kind of a binge this last week. I went on kind of a binge last week, and I watched Drive, Blue Valentine, Gravity,
3 movies in a week.
something else. I watched like 7. I can't even remember the rest.
7 the movie or 7 movies?
No, I watched like 7 movies.
Okay.
He has not
Gotta
seen
clarify.
Seven.
All right.
But and then this morning I watched Inception for like the 5th time, and finally figured that one out. I love that movie. But
Tell us.
what?
What did you figure out about it?
He gets out. Like everybody's like, oh,
There it
he
is.
Get out,
You heard
he
it here
not.
first.
No.
You heard it here first from Trenton Hoshiko himself. He gets out.
But between watching it 5
He also
times
gets out at
and
the end
reading
of
the
Shawshank
script,
Redemption. He gets out.
and reading the script, you like I caught all the things that actually like add up to him actually getting out, and kind of have realized why. There's also a diagram in the script. It's like in the script itself, they showed Nolan's original diagram of it, which shows it, like the whole path of the film, and it does have him leaving, so that's also a clue there. But yeah, I watched Drive though. Drive was I really liked Drive.
The first time you watched Drive.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the first time I watched.
How do your
it.
wrists feel?
Oh,
What?
you think that movie's a little
No. There's that
Masturbatory?
part where the guy's wrists.
Oh, I thought you were making like a.
No. I wasn't doing that. I was
okay.
that the guy gets his wrists injured in a particular way, and it's like,
In
Drive.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston's character.
Oh,
When they're, I believe they're in like a garage, and
yeah.
Yeah, that was
the
the part with
The part with
Yes.
Christina Hendricks where she's putting
Oh,
on
yeah.
makeup and then the fucking shotgun
Shotgun.
blows through the window.
Oh my
that was
God.
so fucking cool. Like, say what you will about the
It's
plot
really
of that
realistic.
movie. Say what you will about the plot of that movie, but that movie has some great moments.
I like the plot a lot, but when he's in the elevator and there's the guy that's been
Oh, yeah,
killed,
the
that's one of
They,
the-
Yeah.
For that
He's
scene,
like
they had Gaspar
curb
Noé come on and like teach. What's the director's name?
Nicholas Winding Refn.
Refn. Yeah.
Nicholas, I always
they
say
had
winding.
Gaspar
It's probably
Noé
Winding, the long and winding
suggestions
Refn.
about how to make that as gruesome as possible.
Yeah, dude, that was
better.
like
What does Gaspar Noé know about being gruesome? He's never made a gruesome
What a
movie.
perfect segue.
Yeah, what a perfect segue into
Yes.
main
Well, I
discussion.
thought the
He was
same
on.
line.
He was only
Oh,
on.
well.
Gaspar Noé was on Only God Forgives the set too. So that's pretty
Which
Wow.
I've still yet to see.
Imagine if those two directors like collaborated for a whole film. That'd be interesting. Probably hard to watch in some way, but I've watched quite a few films. You're bleeding, by the way. I don't know
I
if you
am
noticed
bleeding.
that. It's okay. We're bleeding here on Film Fetish.
We bleed for our art.
Poor film.
I've been watching a lot of movies. I've been trying to watch as many disturbing films as I can with the Halloween holiday coming up. I watched Antichrist for the first time.
Oh, there we go.
Fantastic
Lars
film.
von Trier is not a Nazi. He's just a practical joker.
I found the intro to be beautiful.
Yes,
I think the film just overall is really like, it's just so heavy on symbolism, like the falling, and the fucking baby coming out of the deer's asshole, all that stuff.
And
probably
religious
the-
ties.
Yeah.
And
Well, he
everything
also
that happens.
dedicated the film to Andrei Tarkovsky at the end, which,
He's a
if you know Tarkovsky, you can see the connection. There's a lot of,
Okay.
especially that last image, that black and white image of the trees and the fog coming in, is very Stalker or the Mirror-esque.
Stalker. That's the
Andrei Tarkovsky
Stalker's so good.
okay.
is.
You can definitely see like the reverence for nature,
Yes.
or not even reverence, but like fear, I guess.
Yeah, I
Like-
mean the whole film's about how like the devil's connected with like trees and shit. Like it's just fucking
Yeah,
creepy.
they-
The whole thing.
I mean, it's not really the devil in Stalker, but there's still like an unknown aspect to nature that's terrifying in those
Yeah.
movies.
I think I really liked. This is just me based on my meager education, but I found the Lord of the Flies reference with the whole fox talking to him and telling him chaos reigns. I think it was really interesting because
Fantastic
if you know Lord of the Flies, Lord of the Flies refers to Satan, like that's what it means, and like he finds one of the kids finds a fucking pig's head in the middle of the forest, and it speaks to him. And
What does
that's
it
supposed
say?
to be. It says some shit about how you need to kill people or whatever.
Huh.
I can't really remember, but
Since when was that? Since when was that book based on Satan?
Lord of the Flies like translates to like it means
Yeah.
like Satan. It means
Yeah,
the devil.
Satan is the Lord of the
Lord,
Flies, among
Satan,
other
Satan
things.
is the Lord of the Flies.
Okay.
Beelzebub, whatever. So
It's
I
about
thought-
chaos reigning.
yeah,
It's
really.
when society breaks down and chaos reigns. It's
Yeah. So that,
And nature-
that babe
nature
moment
is-
where the animal was talking was pretty cool.
nature you can use to embody that if you take the most horrifying parts of nature. It's chaos reigning.
Yeah, and they have some really brutal like Apocalypse Now almost like with the fucking little baby chick getting eaten by ants. There's just so many just real creepy things. But so I saw Antichrist, full of great moments there. Good film. I saw Irréversible for the first time. I don't
you
want
haven't killed yourself yet.
We watched Irreversible the other
I
day.
watched that the day after I watched Antichrist for the first time.
It's a good double feature.
Yeah, I thought that movie was brilliant. It's now in like probably my top 50 movies of all time. I really, really liked it. I thought the just every part about it was brilliant. The concept of the film, the rape scene. Even though it's so gruesome, I think just it's brilliantly done. I think the acting's incredible. I love Vincent Cassel. I'm gonna have to watch more Monica Bellucci films because she was incredible.
She's really hot too.
Yeah, it doesn't. And Vincent Cassel is married to her.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason he wanted them in the film because they were married. So, but anyways, so yeah, that's what I've been watching, and I've been also watching a lot of Eastbound and Down, but I won't even bother because then you guys mentioned TV shows. So last night We watched Enter the Void. We got snacks. We turned off the lights. We
cranked it up to 100.
We cranked it up to 100 on the TV. Turned on Netflix. Pulled down the blinds. Turned everything off, and we just kind of tripped, sort of, with this movie.
And 8 hours later, we lived to tell the tale.
Yeah, my God. I don't know. What'd you get? Honestly, it's just such an incredible film.
Well, I think Aaron and I and you have all of us. Was that all a repeat viewing for all? We'd all seen it before at least once. So it was. I'd only seen it once before, so that was the second time. It was definitely the same amount of impact it had on me. It didn't.
Oh yeah. That was my 4th or 5th time.
Holy
watching
cow.
it for the first time, showing my friend, watching it again, possibly also watching it again, and then watching it this time.
Wow. Damn. I don't know how you watch that movie 4 times.
That's a tough movie.
You have to
watch
like
4
wait
times.
10 years before you watch it again. It's
And
so
the
Yeah.
point is just that good.
For me, after I sit through it, it's like, that was amazing, but I don't want to see that for a while.
No, you're pretty done with it.
It's
by
like
the
a
end.
whole, it's like doing like a fucking marathon or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
My favorite part of that movie is definitely the intro. That's probably. I
the
honestly think
intros and the credits.
the credits. Honestly,
The credits
I think,
are incredible.
I mean, there's that's so not the best part of that movie, but I just think it's just a really obvious indication of how Gaspar Noé just wants to do things differently and try new things. And that film does so many different things. It's a 2009 film directed by Gaspar Noé, also director of Irréversible and I Stand Alone. Might as well just say some shit about the movie since this is
No,
all we're
definitely,
talking
yeah,
about.
definitely.
Yeah, so I guess, I mean, we can just go around the horn. Aaron, you've seen it 4 or 5 times. What are your insights?
My insights to Enter the Void.
Oh boy.
Oh
Well,
boy.
Where do you start?
Where are you entering?
for a movie made in 2009, it's really, really unique.
Yeah.
Like, it's really unique. And apparently, The Lovely Bones has a similar plot. I've never seen this movie or read the book.
Huh.
But apparently, like, the plot of that book/movie is that somebody dies and comes back and, like, checks on everybody who, like, is living and, like, who they knew while they were alive.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently there's a scene where they, watch somebody having sex. Like, in the same way that Enter the Void, the ghost kind of, like, goes into the Asian...
I haven't seen or
Maureen.
read Lovely Bones, but I got the sense that was more like she was watching for a purpose. Like she was. I
Yeah.
think she's trying to help them find the killer who
I feel
killed
like
her.
Whereas
So-
it's just
Whereas
happening for
Enter
her.
the
Yeah.
Void is like, no, you're
Enter the
trapped,
Void
you're
is-
dead,
yeah.
you
Right.
just gotta watch. It's,
That's like kind of the point I was trying to make, is that it's just so unique. Like, even though it has like the bare minimum plot, like you're just a ghost floating around Tokyo for 2 hours and like
Honestly.
looking at his memories and stuff.
And when you're
But
not,
it's
you're just a normal
completely
person.
captivating. So, it's good.
I remember hearing, so the blinking part of that movie, I remember hearing something that people were nervous if that was gonna work, like the whole blinking thing,
Yes.
because it blinks for what 30 minutes, and that's
Yeah.
so
you
brilliant.
see,
'Cause
you
that's
see
how
the
they hide-
eye, you see
they
the
hide
eyelids
cuts.
closing
Yeah.
on the image. You see the blinking, like as if it's real
Right.
life and you're blinking.
And they said that's how they hid the cuts, and I'm pretty sure the reason that the blinking works is because people are adapted to cuts in film, cutting from different places. And it's kind of funny. It goes like it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because I heard when cuts first started being a thing, when people did jump cuts or hard cuts to different things, they didn't think it would work. But they said the human eye, since it blinks, people are used to seeing images flash. So that's part of the thing. And I remember when I first saw that film, I thought the flashing was supposed to be representative of the cuts, like the way he was blinking and the way he was tripping. But like if you watch Irreversible, there's so much flashing in that movie too. I guess it's just like a thing that director does. I guess it's just
He has a
I don't
lot
know.
of theory about low frequency sounds making you uncomfortable, and I
Yeah.
feel like that's another theory he's got. It's
Yeah.
like he's really, really, really trying to make you feel as uncomfortable as possible.
It's also
Right.
startling aesthetically as well as startling in terms of the content.
And you wonder, like, you know how he blinks and it'll be green, it'll be red or blue or whatever. You wonder if that's like, if a room actually has a flashing light in there, or if that's just him, or because there's like those clubs that are near his apartment, so you get that light coming in, but then it like changes while he's blinking. So it's just this really weird, like, it's just so, I don't want to say magical, but it's very like there's a lot of illusion.
Magical.
There's a lot of illusions. There's a lot of like second like, like guessing. There's like, whoa, what? Wait, what? And yeah, I think the blinking that whole movie is just incredible. Such a trip, but so yeah,
It's definitely a journey.
it is a journey.
It's a journey.
It's
You're
Into the void.
into the void.
you have to enter it.
Yeah.
Maxwell, what was your kind of experience?
Well, I really enjoy the movie. I do think it is at times hard to kind of internalize everything, what's going on. You just kind of end up sitting through things and just kind of watching them happen, especially a lot of like the DMT trip scenes and the going through, I don't know, just the visual scenes. But definitely my favorite scene in it was the, not the titles, but the opening scene where he's in his,
Takes DMT for the first
he's
time.
in his apartment and he takes DMT for the first time.
In the
or
film.
is it for the first time?
I think it's the first time in the film.
Yeah.
I think he's taken DMT before because when you see the flashbacks, he keeps asking that dealer, "Do you have any DMT?"
Right. Yeah. I thought that was my favorite part of the film because you get the lights from the outside all in the room.
Right.
Trapped. You get the yellow flash and then like the blue flash, and as he's hitting the DMT, his eyes start slowly like closing more, and you get the neon glow is still on his vision. When his eyes close, you still get like a little bit of the light.
Some residue.
Yeah, which is it's so real. It's literally, it's amazing, and he slowly enters like he.
I think it's crazy how he just looks up and that shit's there. It's not like stuff starts appearing on his vision. It's like an entity. Like he has to look up at the ceiling because that's incredible. I think it was so crazy.
And I liked a few of the performances in the film from the actors, especially the I don't know his name, the French guy with the long hair, his friend, his drug connection.
What's his name? Cyril something.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought he was funny. I thought he was interesting.
Really natural performance. Yeah.
And kind of a wiry French dude that
He kind of sells the whole like seedy culture of it. Like, he's kind of the Virgil of the whole experience.
Yeah.
He's kind of cool. Yeah.
So, I mean, everything about this movie is pretty awesome. It's definitely like if you haven't seen it, it's something you've never seen before.
No,
you can't relate it really to many things.
No, not really. And there's so many parts in that movie that are like really unsettling and really disturbing. But it's it's so hypnotic because like every time they have those crane shots going into an object that's glowing, and then you go back into one of those transition trips. Like it's so slow and it takes so long, but it doesn't like. It's not like boring. I don't know. It's really.
But you kind of like just kind of fall into the moment. You're not like thinking about like
it really feels
what's
like
now about to happen. You just kind of see it.
It really feels like you forget that you're like it's taken this long.
Yeah.
Like especially the first DMT trip. Like I'm pretty sure that lasts like 10 minutes. That scene probably.
I don't know about 10 minutes.
I mean
5 to 10 minutes.
It's definitely over
It might
five.
last 6 minutes, honestly, because that's how long they say in the movie.
Oh,
how long
okay.
the
That's
I think
probably
it lasts
accurate.
about 6 minutes. Yeah.
And like that's I mean the fractal patterns and everything are just going. That's all you're watching for 6 minutes, and I think that's really cool. And especially when they go into the aborted fetus and like they go so slowly. Like he really just doesn't. That director just doesn't shy away. He's like, look, I'm just gonna do this slow crane shot into the.
But when you
fetus.
get the first shot as far up as he is, you just know what's coming.
Yeah.
You're just
Yeah,
waiting the entire time. You're just waiting.
And he
he's
just
gonna
makes you
zoom
look
in
at
on
it for so
that,
long.
and
Yeah, it's just such a.
So yeah.
The director's all about just like making you look at stuff for longer than you normally would.
Yeah, exactly.
So Jared, what was your kind of intake?
But when we were talking about Gravity briefly earlier,
Yeah.
I'd having seen that recently and having seen this again, I mean, I can definitely see someone preferring Gravity because it's like a normal movie,
Yeah.
and this is like a wacko movie.
Are the two comparable at all? Like I didn't even know.
No, but I was going to
didn't know
say in
Gravity
terms of the
was gonna be weird.
technicality of the movies, because Gravity is being so heavily lauded in terms of its visual spectacle. Honestly, Enter the Void impressed me way more.
Enter the Void, it's seamless.
Enter the Void is seamless.
Yeah.
in it. And you can tell where they're doing stuff if you really pay attention.
Just by logic. I mean,
But
obviously
The
they're
only
gonna
thing
cut
I
on
picked
the-
up on was like the cars would look fake sometimes.
yeah.
There was that one when he's coming into the street and you just kind of see the cars and everything on the side and it looks a little toyish.
But honestly,
Well,
I think that one towards the end when they go into the
Yeah,
Love Hotel,
that's-
that is supposed to look artificial
Okay,
because it
yeah.
looks like the model that
'Cause
the
you get
guy
that
has.
feeling.
Yeah,
Remember
Yeah,
when
I
the guy
think
has a
that-
model in his apartment with the neon light up buildings?
Right.
It looks just like that.
That's totally.
and
I
that's
think
totally
that's
raising a
totally
point too. Whether
I mean, you
is
could
this
also-
real or not?
Or,
Because
yeah, an
he's
artificial
dead.
thing.
Is it real?
Yeah.
So honestly, it's
Well, and also like the way your eyes work. If you were like a big entity, the world would look like little objects.
yeah,
You know, the reason things look big is because your eyes are like at a certain distance. But
yeah. He's leaving the world, so the world.
Yeah.
He's not a part of it anymore. It looks otherworldly.
There's also the theory that the chemicals are breaking down in his brain and he's about to die. If you're gonna look at it like not at a spiritual point of view at all,
yeah.
there's that theory too.
like he's finally dying, like finally ending.
I mean, because like I guess when you die, like time seems like it takes really long.
Sure.
I guess like it just expands and blows up.
Right.
And so, I mean, there's a theory that, like, I mean, that's just, like, his imagination the whole time.
Mhm.
Is that he's dying, and, like, this is all stuff that's happening, and even his soul might be floating around.
Mhm.
But, I mean, it's, like, at the end of the movie, so it's almost his time to really go.
Yeah, and it's also like presenting the question, like the time travel thing, because he goes back in time and sees these vivid visions, and you could say that's his life flashing before his eyes, because maybe the movie is just a 3-second. In real perceptible reality, it's just a 3-second thing.
That's
but
what
he's
I meant,
tripping
yeah.
for so long. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
could be what it is. Like that's just a single moment expanded into a 3-hour film.
But in terms of the visual style, like one of the things I didn't like about Gravity, I did really like Gravity, but at the beginning of Gravity, you have this really long shot. I'm not sure exactly how long it is, but
17 minutes.
17 minutes I've
Wow.
heard. And then the next one's like 10 minutes. But after that, it's a typical length of shots, and it gets very conventional in its style.
Cuarón does a lot of really long shots in his
I know he
films as
does.
well.
He does. I do like Alfonso Cuarón. I really like Y Tu Mama Tambien. I think that's a wonderful movie.
Yeah.
But
Children of Men as well.
I still haven't seen Children of Men.
What?
Oh
Don't
my
kill me.
God.
Don't kill me. Don't kill me.
I
Don't
haven't
kill
seen
me.
it
Don't
either.
kill me.
Holy shit!
Don't
All
kill-
right.
Whoa.
Next
But,
film fetish,
great.
we're talking about Children of Men for
We'll
sure. I
watch
could talk
Children
about
of
that
Men.
for
Stop
hours.
throwing things at me, Trenton.
And
I've
of
seen
course,
more
Prison of
movies
Azkaban.
Oh,
masterpiece.
But Enter the Void has such a visual style, and it carries through the whole film. Whereas Gravity, I felt like he was like, okay, now I got like these impressive shots out of the way. I can like tell the story in a normal
Right.
way. Whereas Enter the Void is so non-apologetic about its style, and it sticks with
consistent.
it throughout the whole way. And it becomes that much more engrossing. I get that much more wrapped up in it because
It
I'm not
is-
like, oh, why is he doing this
Yeah.
now? Why did he change this for that?
It's
I get
very
engrossed
fluid.
into it. It's so fluid.
I also think long shots in space, I think is kind of not that hard to do. If you're doing it in real space, like in a city, that's really difficult because it's harder to emulate something that we see every single day, like a city, but we don't see the fucking orbit of the Earth very often.
Also, the fact that I think the majority of those shots
Are CGI.
in Gravity are CGI, whereas
like
in
it's
Enter
not-
the Void, I don't even know how they did half of that.
Like a ton of
fucking
shots, a ton of shots. in
If you
Children
go
of
on
Men were
YouTube
also
and like look
CGI.
up the behind the scenes Enter the Void, it is so crazy how much stuff is not real. Like you have
shit.
no idea.
It's a lot of it is CG, but
Like a ton of Enter the Void is CG, and you have no idea when you're watching.
Right.
but it's so integrated. For example, in Gravity, when spoiler alert, she finally does get back to Earth, I was like, oh, a real thing. And it totally looks so much better than the rest of the movie. I was like, oh, real
Yeah.
life.
Oh, that final scene though is so beautiful.
When she looks up into the sky,
in the theater.
The look of it, or no, I'm not talking
Okay,
about the
the
plot.
look.
the look of
Yeah,
it, like the
the look,
reeds
you're
in the
right, you're
water,
right.
like
Yeah.
it was so
So
refresh. Like
Yeah.
It's like finally something
that
fucking
works
real
for the
we can-
movie because it's refreshing. She's
Yeah.
back on Earth. It's like finally I'm back on Earth.
You
But it was
totally-
like finally reeds that are real and like this looks like real.
That's it for the frog.
And you don't. Well, the frog. Fuck that frog. What was that doing there? That
fucking
fucking
frog.
frog.
Can't wait to see this movie. It's fucking
But
weird.
yeah, you realize how it didn't really look that real. The space stuff. It
Right.
did have an artificialness to
at
it,
the same
which
time,
it works in a way.
We don't.
But in
we've
another
never
way.
been to
That's what I'm
space, but
saying.
we've walked around a city before. We know a city.
Yeah.
We don't know space.
I do
mean,
think it's more
so. It's gonna look fake to us.
difficult
either
to
way, 'cause
convince
it's new.
someone of this Enter the Void. And
Yeah.
the thing that I don't even really think about the CG when I'm watching the movie. Like I'm watching it. A lot of this is CG. A lot of this was done in post, obviously. But that's not really part of my consciousness when I'm watching it. I'm involved in the emotion of the characters and the narrative that's unfolding. This very basic but very gut-wrenching narrative that's unfolding, and the way that it's told totally influences that narrative and makes it all the more powerful, and I think it's such an engrossing experience. And
While you said you did have some problems with like Gravity's space scenes and whatnot, I did feel like it was actually really good CG though. Like
no, it's good CG.
They didn't compromise at all on it, and it was probably some of the best space anything that I've actually ever seen.
It has nothing on 2001 still. However, 45 years it's been since 2001. 2001, I'd say, still looks more visually impressive.
Well, that leads me to a point I really want to make, is that you could say it's the best CGI, but watch that movie 20 years from now. It's going to look so
exactly.
dumb.
Yeah, totally.
And that's the thing, is the CGI is such a temporary spectacle. Because I go back and watch movies with CGI, like even Irreversible, like the CGI penis, it just doesn't look real. Like you can just tell.
Yeah.
Like if
But you
you've seen
excuse
enough
it because that film is so amazing.
Well, right, and it's
everything
done,
about it is incredible, and the CG
done
is there
sparingly.
for a reason. They had to do it, and
Right.
to tell the story, to craft the world. Whereas I think a huge part of Gravity is the special effects is a huge part of that movie in terms of why it's appealing.
Yeah.
And it's impressive, and technically it's a feat to be commended. But I think it's not going to have the lasting power of something like 2001: A Space Odyssey, for example, to say another space film.
Yeah. Yeah, I really agree.
What was
I
the
think-
reference to 2001 in that movie?
Was
it the-
I would
when
say
she
the
curls
fetus,
up,
the fetal
that's that?
position
Yeah.
scene is very,
Alright.
not visually similar to 2001, but thematically similar to the whole Star Child.
And I think people are just going to
to
make allusions to it just because it's a movie
Just
in
it's a space
But I,
They're
I thought
really
that
very-
reference in the film was a little too obvious. You haven't seen it, but
No.
she takes off all her clothes and she's kind of floating in space in like a fetal
fetal
position.
Oh, it's like a
and
dream sequence.
the oxygen cords are the umbilical cords.
and they're just all everywhere, and it's like held there for
It's a beautiful
like a minute
image. It's
or
a
something.
beautiful,
Oh, yeah.
beautiful image, and I feel like it would work better in a more abstract film, or where that really was the theme of the movie.
Or where they don't feed it to you,
But
here it is.
I thought it was a little heavy-handed, a beautiful image, but perhaps not placed right. Whereas
Yeah.
Enter the Void, the fetus, it's like,
Fetus
of
is
course
not-
there's a
Well,
fetus.
kinda
Enter
dead.
the Void, like nipples and breasts are much more of a thematic symbol
Yes,
in that
yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
They're
life and death is
life
like-
giving.
I felt that
Yeah.
the symbolism in Enter the Void is more heavily integrated
Yeah, that's exactly.
and better integrated into the film.
Right. And
And 2001 as well,
Right,
which is
and
heavy
I-
with symbolism.
that's the thing, is that 2001 was so practical. And like there's been movies that take place entirely in space, like Apollo 13. Like that's not even like that like big of a deal, that movie, but it was shot entirely in like a vomit comet.
It was shot in a vomit
They
comet,
did
yeah.
they did things practically.
What
which
is a vomit comet?
The
It's
vomit
like the-
comet is a plane that goes
oscillating whatever.
up and down and
Creates
creates to create. They use it for training astronauts.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that all the scenes of them in Zero G were shot
in
in
the vomit
like,
comet.
Wow.
imagine every single scene that you see in space in that movie is basically people going down on a roller coaster. Like that's the equivalent.
amazing.
Just people
Yeah,
falling.
absolutely
Falling.
incredible.
But yeah, so
I don't want to seem like I'm knocking on Gravity. I did really enjoy it. And I
Oh,
thought
no,
it was a
no.
good movie, and I like Alfonso Cuarón. But it's one of these movies that is getting like
the more popular it gets, the more scrutiny it's
Like
gonna
when
be.
Avatar
unscrutinised praise. The
nominated for
Avatar,
Best
and now
Picture.
Avatar is a piece of crap. That's my opinion. Avatar's
But I
a
mean,
piece
like
of crap. So
similarly,
it's not as bad as
this
that.
movie's
But,
going to be nominated for Best Picture, and I don't know.
oh, it will be nominated for Best Picture.
I think it
Probably.
deserves the best picture nod.
I'd say it deserves an, and I would give Alfonso a nod for director as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
That's really interesting. I really need to see that film. But
It's definitely worth seeing.
and that's the thing, is that like films like that come out of nowhere. Like Alfonso Cuarón is a foreign director. Like he's made American films, but he's a foreign director. And seeing films like that come out of nowhere like that, it's really good. But you question why they're so popular. Is it because they're actually finally starting to appreciate the genius that is Alfonso Cuarón, or is it just they really like to watch CGI space scenes? I mean, like what's being picked up on here?
I'd say it's a combination thereof, or different for different audiences. I have a friend who's enamored with this film, and he's a huge fan of Alfonso Cuarón. So he said, this is a great film from Alfonso Cuarón, one of the greatest films that's come out in a while, and he's enamored with it, and won't listen to anything I have to say about it because he's made up his mind. But whereas there's other people, I'm sure, who've gone to see it and have no idea who Alfonso Cuarón is, and they said, well, it was a space thing, and it really grabs you. The narrative is really simple, and you do start to feel for the character because it is a situation you can place yourself in and say, holy shit, that'd be scary.
And you feel as if you're in space, or it's very immersive.
Was it worth going to see in IMAX 3D?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of 3D. I saw it in 3D. It was one of the first films I've seen in 3D where it wasn't completely distracting.
I heard Dredd, the new Judge Dredd remake, which I really liked. I've seen it, but I haven't seen it in 3D. I heard the 3D in that movie was so good because they did all their special effects practical, and then they shot it in really nice 3D cameras. So, like, it wasn't, like, guessing CGI 3D. It was, like, literal, like, it was so textured perfectly. And, I don't know, I just remember watching a review. There's a guy named Angry Joe. He does reviews, and he did a review of that movie. But, yeah, I haven't seen that many films that use 3D that well. That aren't conversions, because conversion films are just fucking terrible.
Oh yeah.
I remember seeing Clash of the Titans, and that was a conversion film. It was fucking awful, but it was a free movie, so I was like, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, cool. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the show. It was very fun. Trenton, would you have any final remarks about anything we've talked about?
No. I don't know. It was really interesting. I didn't actually see Irreversible, and it sounds really interesting. So, or not, Irreversible and Enter the Void. Enter the Void sounds really interesting, so I'm gonna have to check that out now. So.
Cool. And thank you for producing the show.
No problem.
And this is his equipment. This is brought to you by. This is a Master of the Free World production, technically, on a technical level. All right. Thanks so much. Catch you next time. Goodbye.